Good evening, everyone. It's Robert from Point to Point Podcast. And with me is my friend Tony.
Good evening, people. Oh, good morning, some people.
Good evening, good morning. So, we're going to follow up with our discussion we had the other day about Neuralink updates that we want to talk about. And I spoke to a good friend of mine, and he gave me another good example of how putting a chip or something into your head can actually benefit you. Tony sent me a link not long ago talking about the two robots that have kind of been in the news. One is Sophia, and the other one is Ameca. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Team 1000, Terminator.
Yeah, they mentioned that so much
Oh,
in the interviews that they had, which is funny because they actually asked Sophia, "Are
mm.
you going to take over the world?" And they're like, "No, we're put on this earth to help humans." I'm like, that's exactly what someone would say if they were going to take over the earth.
And she got that kind of smirk, but at the end, she also, no, during the interview, she also mentioned that, hey, why not? Something like that, that I could be the best,
Yes.
the leader who controls people. Yeah, the amazing thing is how the AI system in their brain, how much they collecting information, the way they process is beyond our imaginations. They manipulate people minds, and that's what's the scary part is that they already know what to say. They already know what to think already. It's like a blink in the eye. They know already, but they pretend that let me. I'm thinking now. Oh yeah, to me that is very good and bad. Again, I like to see that. The good thing is that the information she can answer you like a lot of depressions. Uh, Very quick, very fast. That's the thing the AI system we're using. Uh, and also, if they would be a little bit more advanced with their limbs, they could end up helping uh, the chores for the disabled people. Things that people cannot do, they could help them out. Even treatment wise, a lot of people nowadays they try to change the healthcare system techniques of treatments. I know someone who came out with those meridian scanner to scan your stomach area. It can tell you which point to use. He mentioned that to me. Then he said he's working on the AI system, robotic system to treat using acupuncture needles. He showed it to me. Then he said using that device and incorporate with that machine. So it's to limit the errors. So the accuracies of the Chinese medicines, I'm sorry, Asian medicine treatments would be better performed than human errors, which is very interesting. How much the that Sophia or Ameca, they all have this strength. But I think Sophia, in updates that they kind of pulled her away from the mainstream for development
Mhm.
is because how scary she can be. A lot of times that you ask her certain questions that you know, oh, she's hiding, and the way she answer you, yeah, she. I think the one the report asked me, "Are you going to destroy human?" The creator or the CEO asked that question. He wasn't expect the answer to be, "Yeah, well, yes," or something like that. I forgot what it, which doesn't make us feel any better. Like we watch a lot of sci-fi to Terminator things. Like
Yeah.
what happened is all those things is like really um, people who sleep in our dreams is actually foresee the future and outcome. That's quite interesting. How my question is why all suddenly they will want to advance during those 10 years time frame they will advance these technology. For what reasons? They really didn't mention much. These robots are actually much smarter than because the way they process the speeds. For us, okay, let me think about it. Oh, tonight, three, or it's already no way.
My takeaway from watching that was a little different. The robot Sophia in itself does have a moment or two to comprehend the question that was asked. What's interesting is sometimes the cue of how to answer is lost. Also, I believe in one interview, the robot tried to crack a joke, but also said it exactly at the wrong time. It's not as instantaneous as like you or I being able to come up with something like that. The other thing that I had noticed was is the interviews were staged. They wanted to make it a perfect interview. Everything that was done, everything was said was already pre-approved before they did it. What I wanted to say was this is let's shift back to acupuncture now. There is motor movement. I know you talked about
Meridian.
yeah, the AI machine for the abdominal acupuncture.
Mm.
Let's think about this for a second. Could a robot be precise enough to be able to put an acupuncture needle into someone?
The points, I would say yes, but were you able to get the meridian? That's another
Yes.
story.
See, there's another thing. It can look at it, but how does it know the exact location? The way we do it, we have to palpate first. We have to look, we have to palpate, we look for certain pieces. But with the robot, again, it's the process of how it happens. You know, I have to put the point into large intestine 11. I understand large intestine 11 to be
They,
on the arm, but it would look at it, but then it would have to follow another process because everybody's arm looks different.
but then they might do measurements.
Well,
They
it
can
depends. Yeah,
this.
it
They just
depends on the
like
measurements too. Yeah. Well, they'll have something in the eyes. They'll be able to do that.
it's similar to back then. I remember this. I used to visit in one of the clinics in Manhattan where I used to in school to make sure the students do their right work. That was part of the information. But this supervisor, oh my goodness, he used a measuring tapes. He literally measured like where it's like stomach 36 located. Stomach six.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Measuring tape. So to me, if a human doing like that to measure
See,
the attacking the point, it might not
yeah.
be, but measurement is correct. So I think the robots will use the measurements and the meridian is exactly the point. And most likely no, unless you have the infrared eyes to stand there.
That falls into another thing too, is what measurement? Because remember, the traditional Chinese measurement is by Tsun.
They might estimate, I guess. Most likely it'll be ancient stuff. It's easier for the computer to process. Because if it's like one tunes, it's very hard to.
Yeah. Well, again, we base it off of
Mhm,
our own body size. My
mhm.
my size of Tsun is bigger than an
Mhm.
8-year old or no, maybe a 16-year old, depends on the 16-year old. So it's I still think there's a long way to go. However, I am more interested in more of a device that helps you locate a point or a device that helps you diagnose someone's pulse. Even one of my teachers was big on the cold lasers. He thought the lasers, the different temperature, different color lasers were going to be the future of acupuncture.
I, I had that. I try it. Uh, I don't see any difference. It's because the device that has like a pen. You literally have to hold it for what 15 to 30 minutes. You
Something
have
like
to
that.
go to there or go elbows. Like it's too painful. You have to have a device that sit there and shoot it down to the points that, and make sure the patient doesn't move.
Now
Uh,
with a robot, that's
you know, that,
possible. Like a robot to track your movement, you could tell, you put a dot there or something. The robot will track the dot, and as you move, it will keep the
can move.
laser on.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
So also other question regarding the robot thing. There's some people fall in love with it.
Yeah.
They, I, they have relationships. Some people prefer non-human relationships. I read, I saw in those YouTube's videos. Like, well, okay, makes sense. At this moment, the robot doesn't talk back things that you dislike from other counterpart. So they programmed like what they wanted. Their dream princess or prince.
There were two movies that I think were good examples of this. The first one I cannot remember the name of whatsoever, but it was a guy who had an AI in his pocket, and he would walk around and do stuff, and he fell in love with the AI. I never watched it. I only saw the premise of it, and I thought it was fairly interesting. And I believe somebody told me that it had a sad ending to it, which I guess most of those will. The other one that I was thinking of was the last Blade Runner movie. And the main character of that had a hologram AI that when he came into his apartment, the AI would come on, hi, how are you? I made dinner, sit down, how is work? Sometimes people just want that interaction, but they don't have the ability to interact with other people. You learn later that all people stayed away from this person. They didn't want to be friends with him. They didn't want to talk to him. They didn't want to be with him, period. But the AI was always there. The AI was there to take care of him. The AI was there to talk to him about his problems. And it was the only solace that he had outside of his work and all of the discrimination that he felt. Can I understand someone doing that? Yes. People can fall in love with something that makes them very
Yeah.
happy.
Yes.
I've seen there, and again, related to some of the stories that we were talking about, people fell in love with their favorite anime character. So they marry a statue of them or a love doll of them, something like that. Strange but true.
Well, that's why our human minds very complicated. We sometimes consider like forced love, just like as us practitioner, we have to be careful with that, especially with opposites or nowadays same sex, gender. If people who's like very down, depressed, you just give them a little comfort and they, wow, thank you, you listened to me.
Yeah.
So that's sometimes they develop these forced relationships, feeling for whoever can help them. For us as male practitioners, we have to be super careful. In the past, I noticed a couple of male practitioners, they acting or, no, I'm a married man. No, I will not do this. The worst thing is that that person advises other people, I will not do this, don't do that. You've done it. And the hope this family were destroyed for temporary happiness. And that's like when you first went on dates, first crush, first love.
Yeah.
That feeling, then what happened to your feeling? Where it doesn't last. Yeah, once we married, we don't have that kind of same feeling as before. I'm not sure if anybody out there disagree. It's well, you see the person every single day. Okay, but we don't have that kind of the peak. Let's do something fun. No, no, I'm too tired. Okay.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was the news with Neuralink this week. They took the chip out of the guy's head because of what did they say? They called it an issue of data loss. Everybody was all like data loss in regards to him not being able to control the devices, him having data loss, as in he started to forget stuff. there are some very interesting questions that came along with that. I think more people are more afraid that they'd have the same problem with what happened to the monkey.
Well, it's beginning. It's not perfect.
No,
Then you had to bring
we
something.
don't need that. No. And again, I found it very interesting because, as I mentioned in the last one, if it was useful and it helped increase your ability to function in the outside, that it would definitely be worth to put the chip in. And I was actually reminded the other day about cochlear implants because they put a small electronic device inside the ear for people who are deaf. And they have a another piece on the back here that kind of is kind of magnetic too. But the gentleman was telling me how amazing it is that you know people can now hear things after being born deaf,
Yeah.
which is just in itself amazing. It's completely, I don't want to say science fiction. You're thinking of like Geordi from Star Trek who had the vision band, you know, but just we have that ability now to be able to give someone who's deaf the ability to hear something
Mhm.
in their life and to be able to work through whatever that disability would be and to grow up and kind of have a normal life again. I think that's fantastic.
No, I think that's wonderful. Because for persons who cannot hear, they already knows a lot already.
Yeah.
Any hear sounds is like amazing. It's like miracle for them. That can bring them joys and the feeling that we might not understand because we never experienced death before. Boy, who have problem with the eyesight, he's
Yeah.
well, not blind, but once they had the special glasses and that the boy was like in shock.
Oh,
Oh,
color blindness. Yeah.
yeah, well, I think everything's health related that can change one's lives or improve. Why not? And other people will say, who can sponsor these things? Who can pay for it? It's gonna be quite expensive at this moment.
Yeah. See, that's always the trick. And now we're
Well,
getting into
so
more.
always do GoFundMe, whoever donates. It's not going to be a cheap process, definitely.
No, it never is because greed.
Well, our insurance cover it.
They will, but your premium's going to go up. You're certainly going to
Well,
pay a lot more.
but will a general population accept that fact? Hey, my premiums get way high. Why I need this? I have no problem with myself. I guess through times, we will change, we will adapt.
Good to see that there are some advancements, or to be reminded that there are some advancements with things being implanted that do more good.
Yeah, it's hard. The thing is, our technologies are improving a lot.
Yeah.
It basically make us life easier. I'm not sure if any people watch it in you, Roberts. Do you watch the Disney Pixar? I think Y.
It's funny you mentioned that. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's another bleak show. That's that's probably more realistic than we give it credit for
yeah, yeah.
because we're definitely headed down that road too.
We're destroying everything, but then you get, you know what? Let's move on. That's easier than fixing things. But then again, we don't want to do a lot of things, and we have a robot doing things for us. AI's doing all the thinking for us.
Yeah.
But that kind of piece, and that's still functioning. Maybe who knows? We could be big evolution if we haven't evolved for a while. Oh, never mind. Uh, We go back. Where's
Yeah.
It's pretty funny about how this movie showed that people were feel super lazy. Even when you're eating the like breakfast, dinner, and lunch, you just open your mouth. I can see that happening in the future.
if we let this to continue, because right now we're not doing things for the right reason.
It's always the case. It's all money, greed.
Yeah. And when we destroy this place, we're going to build a spaceship and go someplace else. And then we're going to destroy that.
That's what we're good at. I could see our technology being developed at a fast pace. Yeah. So, okay. I guess it's time, right? It's getting early or late.
Yes, it's very early or very late for everyone. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll be back next week.
Yeah, next week, I think we're going to talk more about the treatments experience.
Yeah,